Get on board the train to the new earth now. Leave behind your fear, let love show you how. There's nothing now that can hold us down. Time to get on board the train to the new earth now. See what can happen when we work things out. When hearts are wide open, the love and light comes out. Voices rising like a healing sound, raising frequencies on this sacred ground. Get on board the train to the new earth now. Leave behind your fear, let love show you how. There's nothing now that can hold us down. Time to get on board the train to the new earth now. Hearts and minds together, building something strong. One great family where we all belong. Hope is growing where the dark once stood. The new earth rises for the highest good. Get on board the train to the new earth now. Leave behind your fear, let love show you how. There's nothing now that can hold us down. Time to get on board the train to the new earth now. From silent hearts to voices free, we're painting peace in our destiny. Each soul a spark, each hand a flame. Together we rise, no shame, no blame. The journey calls, no time to wait. Unlock the door, reshape your fate. The new earth breathes in every breath, a new future life with no regret. Get on board the train to the new earth now. Leave behind your fear, let love show you how. There's nothing now that can hold us down. Time to get on board the train to the new earth now.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. Glad you're here today. Thank you for being with us. We have quite a lot going on here today. Let me change cameras here. I'm pretty far away there. Good. So anyway, today we're going to be bringing in Lilith here in a few minutes, and she's going to do a channel. Then we're going to take a very short break to tell you about a very important event that is coming up on the 8th of August, next Saturday. And it's the group is very important about it. It's a single one-day event. It has a donation of $20, just to let you know. But also, if there's anybody that can't afford it, you can simply contact us through the help desk and get a code to get it for free. We don't want money to be in the way of this one at all. It's that important to the group. So I did want to welcome you all today, and I'll tell you about that one here. It's called the Frequency Forecast. I'll explain a little bit more about that as we go forward. But I do want to remind everybody, if you really want to help us out, there's different ways that you can do it. We are a nonprofit organization, so obviously you can donate to us. That is wonderful, and take a tax deduction if that helps. But the other way that you can really help us here at YouTube is to subscribe to the channel. You hit that like button and hit the subscribe. That helps us a tremendous amount with YouTube. YouTube actually gives us more effort and spreads us in different ways to help Lilith get the energy out. Lilith will be here today. That's why I'm wearing my red shirts. So she'll be with us here today, and we'll be doing that quite a bit. So I'm looking forward to what she has to talk about today quite a bit. So with that, we'll get started. Let me switch over here, and I kind of go into a channel. Oh, also, Debbie's here. We got to say hi to Debbie real quick. There she is. Hi, Debbie.
Hey, Steve, looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. So Debbie will be answering the questions. We have just a few questions that were kind of straggling and some that came in last minute. And we're going to take most of the questions today from the chat room. So prepare your question. Don't put it in too early because it kind of scrolls past and then we have to go chase it. So hang on to it, but you might want to type it out ahead of time. Or, if you have specific questions, and of course the questions may also be about what we're going to be working with here today, or what Lilith has to channel. So welcome today, everybody. I'm really happy to be with you. Espavo. Okay, with that, I'm going to go into a quick channel and we'll bring in Lilith. I'll invite you all to just find your center for the moment. Take a couple of deep breaths. Let go of all the thoughts of the day and things you're going to do later and things you were doing before. Greetings, dear ones. I am Lilith. Lilith, the ninth of nine. So happy to be with you this day. So much is going on your planet. We're going to give you a view of things that are taking place in one specific area. There's another area that is taking a lot of attention and having a lot of questions coming up. We're going to address that through the Keeper on the 8th of August, about a week from today. But we're very excited to bring you some very beautiful information. As you well know, I have come most recently from Eris. Let me do just a brief description, because there have been a lot of questions of who I am and where I come from and why I was the last to come in from the group of 9. We are a group of entities. We are part of what you would call home, where you go and the place where you connect to everything when you leave those physical bodies of yours that you're carrying. Those dense things, the ones that have to carry the ego, the ones that have to play this game of pretending to be a human. And we are called to different places throughout the universe, only when there is specific need. Now, as we are called, we are a group of 9, which includes the Keeper. And as we go to different locations, one of us generally incarnates in there to help bring the energies through. In this particular lifetime, in this place, the Keeper is the one who incarnated. And I was incarnate on on the planet that we call Eris. Eris is simply another dimensional aspect of Earth. Now, you do have an exoplanet by the name of Eris. It is spelled differently because we are from the family of E, and we use the E in a lot of these energies. So there's much to this that we can help change and help understand. But the interesting part is that I am here. I am done with Eris. Eris made a turn. It was on a very difficult path. And as we talked about masculine and feminine. Today we're going to talk about something a little bit different because there is so much of that, and I will be teaching a class coming up on that as well. But the interesting part is there's so many things that are happening on planet Earth. This place is exploding in energy. And has its good parts and what you would call your negative parts. Down the road, they're all good. But going through some of the changes are very difficult for people sometimes. One of the aspects that I wish to talk about today is the reason that many of the ETs, as you call them, are here on Earth. Now, you are about to experience some full disclosure, as you call it. They're going to show themselves in different ways, and that is appropriate. We call these your parental races. Originally, you had 6 parental races, and we believe they actually dropped life in 3 different places on your planet, not exactly the same location, and most of it came out of Africa, but there were other places as well. And the interesting part is that today, there's only 4 of those races left. So everything has a beginning and an end on your side of infinity. We call it finiteness. But the reality is you have 4 races that are here that are very interested in you. Why? Well, in the beginning, we tell you they weren't as interested in humans as they were with the Earth. The Earth herself needed some information, needed some help and some assistance. They started showing up en masse. Oh, they've been here since the beginning of what you would call time. And we'll talk about time because time is an illusion that you're about to see the other side of. But we'll talk about that another time. But the reality is they've been here since the beginning of humanity. Now, why are they here now? Why are they so interested? Why are you starting to see more and more of the ETs? We actually call them EDs because they're extra dimensional. They know how to shift dimensions very quickly, which is something humans don't know yet. Some of it has to do with technologies that you now have on your planet, but much of it has to simply do with the fact that they have been around much, much, much longer than humans. So with this, we'll simply say that the interesting part is they showed up en masse around 1948, because these are the times where you started developing the atom bomb. Now, they were very concerned about this because the damage to the Earth is fantastic. So you had your atom bombs go off, you had your tests go off in different places, and all the attention in the universe started focusing on planet Earth. In the beginning, the ETs, as you call them, started showing up. Your parental races were concerned about the planet. They were actually more concerned about the planet than they were about humanity. So that is an interesting part because she is very much a part of you. The reality is the direction you were heading for a very long time, up until recently, was that the planet would have turned into something very similar to Mars. Now, Mars is still there, but does not have the encasement, does not have the ionosphere, does not have the magnetic magnetosphere that keeps all the rays out and all the harmful things out to supply life. Those were in danger for a long time. Now, we tell you at one point, they made themselves very clear. Now, you know very little about this at this point, but you will probably hear the stories as you go through, because they are starting to become commonplace now, especially with all the technology and your social medias that you have. Some of them will sound like conspiracy theories, but the reality is, at one point in the United States, all of the atomic weapons were shut down. And no one could figure out why. No one could figure out why everything went offline. Everywhere. And you have these placed all over your country, but they all went down. Shortly after that, they came back online. And in Russia, they were armed. The countdowns began on all of them. and happened at slightly different times. So it wasn't the same connection, but it was the same purpose. To be able to shut this down, because the damage to the Earth would have been astounding. So thermonuclear war was simply a huge problem. You have something similar developing now, which we will talk about under the frequency forecast that is coming up. But the interesting part is they were here. They worked with this. They worked with the Earth. They have turned around much of the challenges of planet Earth and, quite honestly, have extended her life. Not necessarily her life as much as your lives, your ability to exist on this planet. You are about to go through the 6th extinction event, and you still have one ahead of you. But we believe in you. You have a grand spirit. You are creator beings, well beyond your understanding. And we can't wait to give you the information so that you can create and balance all of it. Many of you have been here from 300 years in the future. Some of those spaceships that you see up there are not just your 4 parental races, some of them are you. Yes, coming forward, coming back to be here at this exact time to carry this energy and to take care of what is ahead of you. Now, in the meantime, much of your focus has changed. You are creator beings, but you have a limited perception. You can only look at one small space at a time. Multitasking is very difficult for many of you, and with many of the advances in the physical biology, that has become very difficult for many of you. Some of you call it ADHD, some of you call it autism, whatever the case. Focusing on multiple things at the same time has become challenging. It is how you can be controlled. So, with that, pay attention to what you are not watching right now. And that is the Earth. Almost all of you on this planet are experiencing incredible, strange heat waves. Now, we talked about this, and they are different in the different atmospheres and the different areas of planet Earth. For in one, you experience summer, and below the equator, you experience winter. But the reality is these swings, these drastic swings of your climate have been getting worse all the time. And it's because your focus has been distracted. So paying attention to these things is going to become incredibly important as you go forward. It's going to be one of the most important things that you can do to evolve your planet as well as humanity. You are one. You're part of each other in inexorable ways. You cannot be divided. So when the planet stresses, you will see stresses within yourselves, with your societies, with every other aspect of it. But you are creator beings. Forget that not. Understand that you can change all of it. Now, it may be very dissuading for you, because you may say, well, I'm going to send all my energy towards changing this, and then you don't see the change happen. But you can't, because it's a collective change. But without you focusing in that direction, those seeds cannot be planted. So we're asking you to pay attention. You have governments now that are looking toward oil much more than they are looking toward renewable energies. You know, in the United States, you have a leader who has weaponized the money for green advancements. He has held back $7.6 billion of green energy advancements to the states that did not vote for him. That has come to light recently. And yet, that money is needed in different ways. So there's much of this that you can pay attention to. Now, you may say, well, that's the government, and that's this, and that's that, and I have no influence over that, but you do. It's where you focus. Now, do you need to constantly be going in a cycle of over-focusing and overthinking? No. Just hold it in your hearts and see the difference change. Watch the changes. Watch the evolution as slow as it may be, as frustrating as it may be for you to know something and not see a change in the world around you, know that you're still there. You're still holding the energy and planting those seeds of love and light in the perfect place. That's why you came. Your space has been reserved here. There is no one on this planet that is just here for fun, that is just here for a human experience, that is just here because they felt like they were pushed into it. The keeper has still been looking for his contracts, although he has not been able to find them exactly. But the reality is you're here, and your space has been reserved. There are some critical times coming up. These were all needed. There's really nothing wrong. So please keep that in mind. As you look forward, you'll start to see the great possibilities and the incredible energies that were only possible because of these things that are taking place. But look at your renewable energies. Look at some of the green things that you can do. You have many people that are frustrated and going offline and building cabins in the woods and going completely off the grid, you call it. Well, that's one way to do it. But what we really tell you to do is to think globally and act locally. Buy your foods locally whenever possible. Look at everything that you're purchasing, because those money things that you exchange are actually votes, are they not? You're voting on this. You're voting on this. You're not voting on the thing that you buy. You're voting on how you buy it and where it comes from and the supply chain involved with all of that. So again, act globally, think locally. No, think globally, act locally. Gets confused sometimes. So with that, you have a lot that's going on right now. You see, we have told you about the super El Nino, which is underway right now. That is what is causing the heat waves in the northern hemisphere everywhere on the planet. In fact, this weekend and the next few days, you're liable to set records for heat in places that you are unfamiliar with it. Now, Keeper lives in the desert. He lives in Las Vegas, Nevada. So here they're somewhat accustomed to the heat. They have air conditioning everywhere. There's so many places on your planet that are not prepared for what is happening. You will see people not only die, but you will see people stressed to live, to breathe, to be able to enjoy life. And these are basically the planet saying, pay attention. Wake the fuck up. That's the idea. That's what she's telling you. That's what is going on right now. You're also seeing the king tides. The king tides are where the tides drastically go in certain parts of California and certain parts of the West Coast. You're starting to see the water come in and flood buildings that were way up on the shoreline before. Well, this is not just the El Nino, although the El Nino is adding to it. This is the alignment of the earth, the sun, and the moon, all in perfect alignment, giving gravitational, because the tides are actually controlled by the gravitational pull of the moon itself. And when you add the sun's gravitational pull to that, you end up with these massive tides. Now, these happen from time to time. Everyone knows that. But the El Nino is adding a lot to it and bringing things to you that need your attention. So what are the simple things you can do? Well, when you see governments, when you see corporations, when you see businesses, whether they be big or small, that are acting in against the planet, let them know. Call them on the phone. Write them a letter. You can write them an email, but the emails will tend to be handled by AI. If you actually write them a handwritten letter, it makes a huge difference, much more than you could possibly know. Do some of those things. And speak about it. Speak to your friends. Yes, you can go, oh, we're so frustrated. All these things are happening. And you can all go, yes, we agree. We're all frustrated. That does very little good. What we ask you to do is to envision it changing. For you are creator beings, and that which you hold between your head and your heart, you manifest in the world around you. You're much more powerful than you know, and we wish to bring that to your attention. You can make a huge difference on your planet with her right now. And we tell you, your work is needed much more than you can possibly understand. So with that, we'll bring you the ideas. Now, I have recently been on the planet Eris. It's a dimensional aspect of Earth. Did she have this same problem? No, she didn't. In fact, it was a slightly different problem because Eris is a different type of planet in general. Very small, very dense. Gravity was much larger. We're much smaller and shorter and rounder. Different aspects of that. We'll share more about Eris at another time, especially when I get to speak of all that. But the interesting part is this has happened over and over and over again throughout different places of the universe. We told you that you had 6 parental races in the beginning. Now you only have 4. Does that mean they came to a natural conclusion? No, actually, those 2 actually had a hand in their own demise. Now, there are cycles that are going on with the Earth. Surely you understand that. The reality is these cycles are being sped up drastically by human interaction, by the Industrial Revolution itself, by all the things that have come from it, and the idea. Now, what are the processes that take place? Well, your thinking has changed. Your focus in these small areas has shifted quite a lot. We mentioned this before, but you have these televisions that you use. You used to have television repair shops. You don't have those anymore. In fact, there was someone online who actually opened up and started saying, we're going to send you the actual documentation of what's in your television or your radio or your computer, and we'll sell you the parts to fix it yourself. And they were shut down by the manufacturers. Interesting. They want you to replace everything, which really adds a lot to the Earth. You know quite a bit about the plastics that are polluting not only you, but the planet herself, your water. They are ingested into you. The keeper wears cotton shirts. But even though they say cotton, if you look closely, many of them are now 40% cotton and 60% cotton and 40% plastics. The recycled bottles that you use so many of. That is an interesting concept because every time he washes his shirts, he adds to the microplastics which are on your planet. Interesting. Again, think globally, act locally. Use what you can. And does that mean you must throw out all your clothes that have polyester in them? No, it doesn't. But what it means is pay attention to what you are voting for when you buy something. Because that's basically what's happening. There's so many things you can do here if you just do the research. Much of this is needed now. The planet is calling your attention. Wake up. It's time. Pay attention to what she is telling you and help her. Now, long term, we tell you you're in a cycle. The Holocene has ended. The Holocene being a 10,000-year period where only 1 degree of temperature change has taken place. That gave humanity a huge opportunity to awaken and evolve on planet Earth. So what is ahead? Well, we tell you right now you have entered a cycle of drastic change. You're seeing climate change. Will it go back to normal? No, it won't. But you can stop pushing it further and further through your actions. Eventually, these drastic cycles of change will stop, and you'll go into an ice age. Now, that may sound very harsh, but that is the normal cycle of planet Earth. We also tell you that with the technologies that you have and many of the things that are lining up right now, you have opportunities to survive all of this. But we tell you change is at hand. And we ask you to take responsibility for slowing down the footprints that you put on planet Earth right now. That will help tremendously and give you time to make these adjustments. Now, when is the ice age coming? Well, that's going to be up to you. For the most part, this is not in any of your lifetimes or even your children's lifetimes. But if you can see that this drastic change, this swing back and forth between super cold and super hot, you can see the changes that are taking place. You'll see the hurricanes. You'll see the redistribution of water everywhere on planet Earth. You did not even have superstorms until recent years. You did not have the floodings that you're having now or that you're about to have. All of this is part of the general swings that are going on with what you call climate change. And you have the effect of it. You also have the keys. So work with that. That is my message for you this day. To come together, to hold hands, to pay attention to the things that work. So you can spend your energy taking, oh, this person's wrong and this person's doing negative things and this person's bad. Or you can say, I found something that works. Take a look at this. Let's try this. Let's work in these areas. That can make a huge difference, for you are all creator beings, even though you think not. You do have an ego. Those egos keep you bound within a very limited space. You lose them, of course, when you come home. But for now, know that we have you. We're watching over you greatly in every aspect of life, and we love you dearly. With that, we're going to take a very short break and share with you a little bit about what is coming on the 8th. And we will come back and answer these questions that you have. Espavo, dear ones, you are magnificent beings, and we love you dearly. Espavo, thank you for taking your power. I am Lilith, 9th of 9. Hi, everyone. Yes, it's time for the red hat. Lilith is going to be giving a class. She's going to be giving a class 3 days on August 12th, 14th, and 28th. She's going to be working with balancing the masculine and feminine. That doesn't mean that men are going to learn how to carry the feminine energy, because a lot of men already carry the feminine energy. It's about balance. And that's what she wants to work with. She'll be telling story from Eris. She'll be telling different aspects and different things about how they had to wrestle with the opposite of what we did. We were male-dominated here on this planet, and that has been almost from the beginning of our written history, although that written history has been changed, according to her. She's got quite a story to tell. She'll tell you her own story. She was Adam's first wife, and Adam told her to lay beneath him. She did not. She refused. And she was demonized from that point forward. She has a rather interesting story to tell. You might have seen some of it on YouTube. She'll start with that story in this 3-day course. And then she wants to tell stories about how Eris changed, how they altered, how things shifted, how they were able to balance that energy. She's going to be offering very practical things for all of us to try, different aspects to look at both sides of the energy that all of us can carry. If we balance that, we will change this world. And it's time. It's absolutely time. So come and join us. Lilith will be talking about the new human in August. Come join us. Espavo, everybody. Welcome, Lightworkers. I'm Steve Rother. I'd like to tell you about a very special event that we're going to be having on the 8th of August at 11 a.m. U.S. Pacific time. We do something called the frequency forecast, where basically, in my words, I basically tell people some of the things the group is saying that is going on in the world around them. Right now, at this very moment, we have major changes which are taking place on planet Earth, which are going to affect every single person here. I'd like to share what the group is saying without this. This is not going to be a live channel. It's going to be Steve telling you what's taking place. It's going to take us about an hour. We are going to ask for a $20 donation. However, if that's a problem, you can simply fill out a help desk ticket on the front of steverother.org and get a free code to come for free. We are going to offer a certain number of free sessions. But the idea is that the life is going to change on planet Earth very quickly. A lot of this has to do with technology that will explain different things that are taking place with AI, with robotics, quantum computing, ternary computing, all sorts of things that are all going to hit at the same time and change our planet. Come join us. We'll see you there on the 8th of August, 11 a.m. Pacific. Espavo.
Hi, everyone. We'll start out with a few of the questions that came in really recently. And the first one for Lilith today is hearing, or it's related to Lilith's story of Eris and how it has voluntarily reorganized and balanced recently. It made me wonder about something I've heard you say many times over the years, that Earth is one of only 2 planets that is playing under the principle of free will. Does this mean Eris is the other planet, or is there more to this than I understand? Thank you, and with love, Tracy.
Yes, there is quite a bit to this. Very challenging because Eris became a planet of free choice, but did not begin as one. There's actually several new planets now that have all gone because planet Earth made some massive changes. And the creation of new planets is happening all the time. Not only the creation of new planets, but the creation of new life forms. Forms that evolve, that bring the basis of spirit into a physical form. So yes, Eris was the second planet of free choice. There is now about 12. And we're very proud of that because this is your doing, not ours. Your success, and we know that there are times where you think everything is a failure or very difficult, but the reality is you have succeeded greatly. And that is what that is. So you are absolutely right. Eris was the second planet of free choice. And we thank you for asking. Espavo.
Thank you very much. Next, we have a question from Dagmar. She said, we're still receiving these huge solar flares. Her question, is there a connection between the solar flares and our bodies, moving ever so slightly from carbon-based into crystalline? I feel kind of a bridging process there as well, moving from the 4th into the lower 5th dimension. So she's always grateful, and with love and light, Dagmar.
Absolutely. You have it exactly. You have evolved, and you are starting to evolve even your own DNA. Every part of you is starting to raise into a higher vibrational state. When you do that, your physical body changes, and the physicality of Earth herself changes. Many of the challenges that you are even having now, we have just recently told you that you have a coming ice age. You're thinking, oh my goodness, that's going to be horrible. We're going to have to do something, but your physical bodies will change as well. So the evolution, if you stay on track and stop pushing the Earth to evolve too fast, well, the timing will be perfect for all of you. You'll find quite a different aspect because you will be here, but in a higher vibrational state. And that is part of what the solar flares are doing. There are beautiful little aspects of light. They have very small quantum particles of light that pass through your body. They are so small that your scientists say they don't even interact with you. They pass right through you without interfering with you. But we tell you they also charge you. These are called neutrinos, and they are doing quite a job. They're also helping the Earth. Now, they also will Add a bit to the global warming situation, which makes it even more difficult. But we tell you your solar flares go every 12 years. You go through a cycle. You're still coming out of solar maximus. You have a few more years to go before you hit solar minimum, and these stop for quite a time. The magnetics of Earth are also changing as well to provide you with a very sacred place to live and a way to do that. But the idea is simply that. You're turning from carbon-based to crystal. What happens when the Earth presses a piece of carbon over millions of years? It turns into a diamond, does it not? You're experiencing that pressure right now, and you will evolve. And this is starting with your pineal gland. This is starting in different areas of your life. We've brought this to you before with some of the classes we've made. But we also tell you that this is a wonderful thing to celebrate. You will have many things. In fact, one of your solar flares is about to hit Earth tomorrow and the next day. It is a glancing blow. It is not a direct blow. Many times the Earth, as it's twisting around in space, and the sun lets off this because the sun revolves too, it leaves this big trail. So this will be a glancing blow. It's liable to give you some of the auroras that you love to look at in different places, but it is a rather large solar flare that's hitting. Many times, most of the time, your news will tell you, oh, this is going to interfere with things. It's going to block your communication. It's going to knock out Facebook. Oh, my goodness, that could be horrible. It's going to interfere with your cell phones, your little computers you'll carry around in your pocket. It may have some of that, but this is not to be feared. We tell you, there was a Carrington event quite some time ago that had a huge effect. It started fires, brought down communication lines. Everyone is expecting that to happen again, but your technology has evolved greatly to be able to prevent that. So trust it. Know that you may have some glitches along the way when you see these solar flares, but we ask you to welcome them, to greet them with love, and to take all the beautiful energies that are passing through your bodies as these neutrinos leave their mark on you. Espavo.
Thank you. I'd love to get to see another aurora borealis. Doesn't get to us here in Tennessee too often. All right, next up we have Karen, Light Master from Texas. And she is asking, well, first she says, thank you for helping us in this time of great transition. What happens when a person is in a coma? She has a friend who developed an inoperable aneurysm in her brainstem. Is she still there, hearing and seeing all that is happening around her, but only unable to respond, or has she already gone home? Can we help her? This is rather personal, but I think most of us have known someone that's been in a coma. Lilith?
It's a great question, actually. Let us explain what takes place. Many times, dear ones, you are multidimensional. The same way Eris was another dimension of planet Earth, you have multiple dimensions of yourself. In reality, they're infinite. But we talk about them being 12 of them. You have your higher self in the middle and 11 different expressions, all doing something slightly different. Well, what happens is you're born at the same instant. You enter the game at the same illusion of time, and you all leave at the same illusion of time. So what happens when one of them has something take place, or has an illness as you speak, or is in a car accident, and the others are not ready to go? You go into a timeout, and that is what is happening with your friend. They are making decisions in her other dimensions of whether they wish to go or whether they wish to pull her back. And that is a very difficult decision. Now, your part of your question is rather interesting. Is she there? Does she hear you? Yes, she does, but not through the physical body. You must understand, she's right there in the room, looking at you. And it's wonderful that you go in there and hold her hand and talk to her and refine her. It's not only good for her, it's good for you. It's a grieving process that you can work with ahead of time, which is perfect because it allows you to let her go when she can release and go home. But in the meantime, she's there. She's just not in physical form at this moment. Now, when she awakens, if she does awaken, she will have memories. She may remember it all, she may not. She may have an awareness that people were around her. That is only the brain imprints of the physical body. The spirit sees it all. So communicate with her, talk with her, work with her body, touch her whenever possible. Those are beautiful things that are not only good for her, they're good for you. This is a beautiful time. It's actually something to celebrate. Yes, there will be tears. Yes, you will miss your friend. You will miss the communication that you normally have. But the reality is the communication of the heart never ends. Treat her as a spirit. Know that you're right on target. And we thank you for asking the question. Espavo.
Thank you, Lilith. Next question is from Olena in Germany. And this one is, again, it sounds personal, but I think it's some good questions. Today in my dream, I saw a man and a woman standing calmly. Suddenly, I felt an overwhelming sense of panic and an urgent need to leave the room we were in. I left immediately. When I woke up, I had the feeling that perhaps they were trying to make contact with me. In my understanding, this fear may come either from a protective mechanism or because my consciousness is not yet ready. So what can we do to develop more conscious awareness of our dreams? How can we gently overcome this fear in the best way so that we can safely make contact or maybe begin channeling? This is something I truly wish to experience. And thank you for your guidance.
Absolutely. This is a multi-dimensional dream. And that can be very scary the first couple of times it happens. You have dreams, and most of the time your consciousness knows you're in a dream. There are people that learn to direct their dreams, that learn to create things in their dreams because they are aware that they are dreaming. That is wonderful. It's a great way to reset your physicality, your mental aspects, and release stress that builds up in so many different areas. But we also say that there are some very interesting things you can do with this. Occasionally, when you drop into a certain aspect of dreaming, you actually enter into another one of your own dimensions. And you trade places with someone else, another you. Now, in that area, there may be all sorts of things. The reality is, in that area, the other you may have been in trouble. They may have been in danger and suddenly wanted to hide and moved into your being, and you moved into theirs, and you felt the fear. That could be one aspect of what you felt. Another thing that could have very simply happened is the realness of this can startle anyone the first few times it happens. So the first thing to do is to talk about it like you are. Share this with your friends. Tell them about it. Let them hear not only what happened to you, but what happens to them and how they can add to your experiences. Because the next time it happens, it'll be much easier. And you know you will be safe. Even if someone is chasing another you and you jump in there and they trade places with you, the reality is you won't need to be in fear. And you can actually communicate with that. Whether you call that channeling, whether you call that simply dimensional aspects, we tell you this is the things that your ET friends are very good at, shifting dimensions. How is it done? It's almost too simple to understand. It's a 90-degree turn. We call it the orthogonal matrix, but it's basically a 90-degree turn in dimensional reality. It is much easier for humans because you think so much. It is much easier for humans right now to do it in your dream time than it is in your conscious waking space. Enjoy it. Play with it. When it happens, even though you may wake up shaking and in fear, tell people about it. Share it. Write it down. Tell your stories. And that will anchor it for you. Well done, dear ones. Well done.
And thank you for that. And this next few questions, I'll read them separately so we don't get too lost. Started with thank you for answering our questions and for everything you share in your Q&A sessions. It is very helpful and profound. I really love hearing from Lilith. Don't blush. She brings such a different perspective. So she has a few questions today. The first one, why do we cry? Is it really a biological need or a spiritual one or both? And what is the deeper purpose behind it?
Crying is simply what we call life lubricant. It's a way to release built-up stress in your emotional systems. It actually brings you closer to home, dear ones, because there are different aspects that you experience all the time. You limit your range of emotions when you're walking around on the planet Earth. You don't want people to see you crying because you think your bodysuit is projecting something weak. So you tend to hold things in a very tight case. There are a couple of things that can take you out of that case, which actually invigorate your spirit. One of them is crying, and one of them is laughing. Now, the reality is the keeper had a lot of problems with tears when he first started channeling. The reality is he would have a wet shirt where all the tears would come down. So much so that he had difficulty. His throat would close off. He would squeak instead of being able to talk. And it was very challenging for him. And he was very worried about what people would think of him trying to channel. And they couldn't understand what he was saying. Well, the reality is enough life lubricant and he got used to it. It was comfortable. He had built up so many restrictions that when the energy and the love started coming through in great lengths, he had to cry to open it up. Now, today we tell you that the keeper has what we call reverse eyes. He doesn't cry when he sees something sad. He doesn't cry when something is painful. He doesn't cry when he's in pain or sees something or is grieving. He cries when he sees something beautiful. And that is magnificent. We hope you all, we wish you the best of tears. Espavo.
Goodness, maybe all my tears when I was a kid really did some good. Okay, the second question is, you often explain that our soul exists across 12 dimensions simultaneously and that they enter and exit together. What happens if one dimension feels ready to exit, but the others are not ready yet? How does that really work?
You've seen many people in what you call NDEs, near-death experiences, where they step out of their body, they go home, they're gone, their heart stops, the brain waves even can stop. And yet, they're usually met by someone who tells them it's not their time. They must go back. And the reason they must go back is because the other dimensions have not ready to move. It is a collective decision always. Now, there are certain aspects we tell you, we shouldn't say always, because there are certain aspects where that can happen. But what ends up when one does do that and one forces an exit point and doesn't go back, it fragments the spirit. You call it soul fragmentation. There are things you can do to repair that. There are things you can do to work with that. But it does cause a very difficult situation. And that's what happens. Espavo.
Okay, last question in this group. Lilith, is there any advice or insight you can offer about old soul light workers such as myself and the burnt out feelings that many of us are going through right now?
Yes, many of you have been carrying the light so long that you feel like you have not been successful at putting it down, and you basically cannot see the advancement of humanity that you have in your own heart. Well, these things can change. And we ask you to renew yourself. Tell your stories. Teach others. Work with others as much as possible. Those things will help invigorate you. But keep in mind, many of you are last-timers. Many of you have been here so many times, you are graduating Earth and you will not return here after this lifetime. And that can be very challenging for many of you. So the best thing we can tell you is to enjoy the ride. Do those things you love to do and stop focusing on the negative ones. Stop focusing on the burnout. Find some new, exciting things to do. But there's much of that on planet Earth. Espavo.
Thank you very much. We have, I think this is our final question. No, two more. This is from Christine in Belgium. She is 72 years old. Throughout my life, I have often been too trusting of what people told me. Unfortunately, this has sometimes led me into very difficult situations and made me question more carefully. For about a year now, I have been following your channel from the group of 9. Something interesting has happened to me many times. I often hear something on your channel that is completely new to me, and then shortly afterward, I unexpectedly come across the same information somewhere else. For example, I heard on your channel that the Earth's magnetic field can reverse. I'd never heard this before. A few weeks later, I visited a museum and found an article there discussing exactly this subject. Experiences like this have happened many times. Because I've become more cautious over the years, I sometimes wonder about the source of information you share. Does it truly come from the other side, as you describe, or could it be that the information reaches you through other channels and that you unconsciously and sincerely pass it on without realizing its origin? Please don't take this as criticism or disrespect. It just comes from her own life experiences and a genuine desire to understand.
Absolutely. We tell you that we call this channeling. Actually, the keeper calls it channeling. The reality is everyone channels. You call it different things. When you get an idea that you've never had before, you can do something with it. You may discover something really important and you go, oh, this is my idea. This is great. I just got it out of nowhere. I woke up with it and I understood all this. So you write it down and you rush to the patent office to patent your idea, and you may get there and you may patent your idea only to find out that other people had the same idea and have already patented or patented right after yours. The reality is when many of these things are dropped into the collective consciousness, those that pick it up can pick it up in different ways. And the other aspect is you project those things you are ready to see, and you open up those many possibilities. So the biggest question that you ask is that you want to know the true origin of where we come from and where this information comes from. This is the reason that we told the keeper that we would not be called by any name. He ended up calling us the group because there were 9 of us. He is one. But his humanness wanted a name. He wanted a dimension. He wanted to know where exactly we were from. And we refused to tell him because it's not about us. It's about anything you can get from this information. Whether he is making it up, whether it's coming from the highest of high, whether it's coming from the 23rd dimension or his own experiences, makes no difference. Can you benefit from it? That's the idea. And that's much more important than us trying to convince you that we are from the other side of the veil. You all have these aspects. Everyone channels, you call it different things. Enjoy it, practice it, bring it in, allow it to be here for you in the greatest of ways. We hope that helps. Espavo.
Okay. The last question was not something we need to bring up here. So now we'll go to the chat questions. So if you've been holding them, it's time to paste them in there. We have 2 so far. This is coming from Margaret. She says, are the Bell Beaker people an original race, one of the 6?
You have different names that you have labeled for many. We tell you it's kind of challenging for us to use the names that you have identified, many of them will. We will tell you many of those that you call the Palladians, many of those that you call the Syrians, many of those that you have called the Zetas. All of these, and the reptilian race, all of these are your 4 parental races. Where are they exactly coming from? And are these here? And are they the only ones? No. There's at least 144 different races on your planet right now, taking different forms, and most of them taking human forms for a short period of time, or even longer, even having entire lifespans on your planet to carry information, to play your game, to work with you in different ways. Some of them are there for their own purposes. Some of them are there for yours. Please do not go into fear. Conscious creators as yourselves can cause all sorts of problems when you carry fear in your heart. Now understand, all of these races have technology far beyond your understanding. If they wanted to take you over and cause you harm, they would have done it a long time ago. Just enjoy this journey and play with this. We hope that helps. Espavo.
Okay, I had never heard of Bell Beaker before. I might have to Google that. The next question comes from Elizabeth, and I'm actually curious about this myself. So, are EDs responsible for the high strangeness on Skinwalker Ranch in Utah? If so, what are they keeping secret and why?
There are certain places on your planet that have been basically stopping off points, safe spaces. There are some very unusual anomalies in the place that you call Skinwalker Ranch. It has been going on for eons of time, long before humans inhabited that area. The United States government actually took it over for a time and did their own research there. And the interesting part about these things is that they only uncover more questions. You can study all you like, but the reality is you're going to have difficulty understanding things that you can perceive, but you can't explain. The hardest thing for humans to understand is that you can't understand it all at this moment. But you're looking at things that don't always make sense. You're looking at things that show that you are not alone. Now, interestingly enough, if they get very close to actually uncovering something or causing some damage, there will be a reaction. And you can see this very clearly, not only at Skinwalker Ranch, but other places throughout the planet. It's a beautiful place. Down the road, you all may be able to visit there sometime. The plateau is very amazing. Espavo.
Well, thank you, Lilith. I have a follow-up question about Skinwalker Ranch. I'm afraid I'm one of those people that do watch that show on TV. And so they seem to appear to, the EDs appear to want to kind of be detected, but then they put up blocks and they make instruments fail to work and things like that. So is this on purpose, or is it just a part of the differences in frequencies and everything else?
It is both. One of the things that was discovered in these areas is the 1.6 gigahertz area. Originally, that frequency was used specifically by the United States government and actually set aside by the FCC for only specific use. It has been taken over in areas like Skinwalker Ranch. It doesn't go throughout the globe, but there are some interesting things that'll take place. lots of magnetic anomalies, and of course, everything electrical is also magnetic. That is part of the electromagnetic spectrum, like a spiral. You measure it this way, it's electricity. You measure it this way, it's magnetism. So when they send out their own signals, in many ways, it will naturally interfere with many of the technologies that you are trying to track them with. This is partly due a natural reaction to the electromagnetic spectrums that they use, and also they love to play with you, if you haven't found that out. Absolutely, they love to play with you. That's part of the interesting thing of why they show themselves and then they disappear. Espavo.
Thank you. Good insights. All right, we have a question from Ellie. I'd like to know whether we will see accountability for the misdeeds of our governments. Although this may seem a mundane question, it will give much heart healing to many.
Eventually, yes. Eventually. We tell you there's only things that can be controlled for so long. The human heart is much larger than to be able to be controlled in the ways that it has been. We tell you there has been technology being used to influence people in different ways. It has divided many people on planet Earth, not just in the United States, but everywhere. There's different things that are taking place. Keep your eyes on the larger picture. We tell you there has been an arrest warrant set out for Donald Trump recently by a federal judge. There's many things that are taking place, and we're not telling you he's going to end up in jail because of it. After all, he's in a place of great power. But we tell you that things will right themselves eventually. The question is, can you have your voice be heard? Can you hold it? Can you keep from being overly frustrated and turning off everything? Can you watch as so many of these things take negative turns and then correct that energy? Yes, you can. And you will. We trust it. Enjoy the journey.
All right, we have a comment for you. What is so funny is that I would like to ask a question, but as I type it in, the answer is immediately received before I would even finish the sentence. So that's not really a question, just a comment. And we have no more questions, but go right ahead.
I'm going to respond to that. When the keeper was first learning to channel, he had a good friend of his that said, "Oh, there's a really famous channel in town. I'd like to take you." And he said, "Oh, that would be wonderful. Why don't we go and watch this famous channel?" And he did. And the interesting part is it was a big circle of people. The channel was in the middle, and they were going around the room asking questions. He had the same exact thing happen. He would form a question that he wanted to ask, and we would answer it internally right off the bat. He would form another question, and we would answer that. He would form another question, and we would answer that. He finally got to him to be called upon, and he says, "I don't have any questions." That is absolutely perfect. Welcome home, dear one. Welcome to your channel.
Okay, we have a short one that just came in, if you have the time. It's
Sure.
Greetings and thank you from Catherine. What is causing the sargassum seaweed? I don't know if I said that right.
There are many new forms of things that are taking place. The sea itself is trying to cleanse itself. There are microplastics everywhere. Now, interestingly enough, you have new technologies that may actually help to dissolve such as that. Some of the energies that we are going to be talking about on the 8th include including the folding of certain energies that can actually help to dissolve some of these things. There are proton foldings that are happening that can work with you in a different way. That is not the word, but he's having a difficulty bringing the word up. But nonetheless, there are different things that are starting to evolve. They will take time to enter your world. In the meantime, the Earth is doing it herself. Now, it's very difficult for humans who love to go to the beach and they love to walk out into the water. They love to lay in the sun, and all of a sudden they have all this gook there. There's a reason for it. The earth knows how to heal herself. Give her space to do it. Find another place to sunbathe, and you'll find that there are things that will happen that will basically help to cleanse the water. That's part of what she's doing. We hope that helps. Espavo.
Thank you. We had another one come in, and this is a very good one, as all of them have been. Is Alzheimer's like the coma issue, in that it is a placeholder until the other 10 are ready to go?
It can be in many ways. You're finding out much more about Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's has a cure that you will experience in most of your lifetimes. You'll see it very, very soon. There is a way of understanding what this plaque is that develops in certain areas and eliminating it. You're right on the edge of that discovery. In the meantime, it's used by spirits many times as a placeholder, as a space to take them out of the equation for the temporary moment. And that is the aspect. Dear ones, we thank you for being with us here this day. You are magicians, each and every one of you. We love you dearly, and we know that you are here during times of change. We know that change is very difficult. You'd much rather be on a comfortable road that never moves anywhere, but you would get so bored so incredibly quick. You have the evolution of humanity at hand, and the evolution of the planet at the same time. The fifth dimensional state also means a change in the physicality. Much of this is starting to happen very, very quickly. There are things to watch. Are there things that you will fall into fear for? Yes, there are. Are there times where these technologies will be taken over and used by bad players? Yes, of course. You're on planet Earth. Welcome to the Earth. Of course, you're going to have all these things happen. And we tell you, you're so concerned about AI. How can you tell if something is AI? You'll tell you AI is growing so fast you will not be able to tell. But your heart does. And that's the interesting part. You're spirits. You're not humans. And if we can evolve that part of you to where you have heart discernment, now you have the key to all of it. And that is coming. That is part of what we hope to give you and share with you as we go forward. You are the greatest angels that have ever lived, and we honor you greatly. We are here as a group of 9 to help during these times of transition, but we aren't doing it for you. We're simply shining a light to share with you who you are. Welcome home, dear ones. I am Lilith, 9th of 9, proud to be here with you. Espavo, dear ones. Travel well.